Thank you, Chair, and thank you and your team for inviting me. The conference comes at the perfect timing. The stage is set with the Commission reviewing the Noise Directive, scientific work demonstrating that current acoustic standards are, let's say, inadequate or needs reviewing as well, and the unanimous political support of the Committee on Petition last September to a petition of 2021 for the review and the adoption of EU limits on wind turbine noise. Nevertheless, the conference is a success also if it sets the stage for more involvement of the European Parliament. Why more? The first reason for more involvement of the European Parliament in this issue is that, as we have seen today, existing rules are broken. The national provisions which apply or purport to apply to wind turbine noise measurement and calculation are either unworkable, defective, or even in some cases absent. And the consequence, the very practical consequence of that, is that projects are being approved without actually knowing what the acoustic consequences are. What this means in practice for victims is that they face losing their homes, they face years of legal proceedings, and a nearly insurmountable burden of proof with regard to medical and acoustic evidence. So, since at the same time, the European Commission is pursuing an objective of doubling capacity by 2030, the role of the Parliament is to investigate, to do its own investigation, and to balance. If there is this objective of doubling capacity by 2030 and more after that, then the European Parliament must step in and do its own investigation. The second reason is that there is an obvious solution to this situation, which has been ignored for nearly 20 years. The Noise Directive is a success story. When it was adopted in 2002, it had less than 20 pages, and today it has over 1,000 pages of acoustic standards covering everything from rolling stock to motor vehicles to aircrafts. And the Commission has readily concluded over 10 years ago that EU, and I quote, EU noise at source legislation remains the most cost-effective means to address noise. This is nothing new, and still not a line on wind turbines. The members have raised this issue for also 20 years, have adopted resolutions. So there needs to be a change in the method, because we are still where we are 20 years ago in this respect. And the Commission response repeated in the answer to a parliamentary question a month ago is the same. Yes, there is an issue. Yes, we will assess whether something can be done and introduced in EU legislation. But in the end, it is up to the member states. And I just note in passing, the operative word of Mr. Willems is supposed to be conducted by member states, and they should do something. We don't know. This also needs investigation. And I think from a political point of view, as a lawyer, it seems to me that there is a political question to the Commission. And I think it's very positive that the Commission is so well represented today. Why has the Commission taken no action in 20 years, although the Parliament has raised this question for 20 years? It's a question, and silence can be the answer. But I think the question is there, and this is a question for the Parliament to pursue. And the third reason why this conference should kick off more involvement of the Parliament is that, yes, the Commission is acting as committed, has accepted the recommendation of the Court of Auditors to, and I quote again, assess the feasibility of introducing EU noise reduction targets and noise limits in the Noise Directive. But the report of the Court of Auditors is on city pollution. And if you read carefully the answer of 20th February of the Commission, of Commissioner Rosbach, it says very clearly between the lines, there is no room in the current operation of revising the Noise Directive for winter. It is said in the first paragraph of the answer. It is for the member states. They take care. So Parliament has to step in to do its own investigation and to bring the Commission. I think the Parliament has the tools to do it. We see today it didn't progress as much, but it can be done. The victims are there and no one is contesting that they exist. The fact that new methods and standards for measuring acoustic emissions from wind turbines is clear. It was presented at length today. Maybe it wasn't available a few years ago, but it is now in front of us, which is only the other side of the broken national standards. And so, since it is not being contested that in the current exercise, in the current commitment of revision, re-evaluation of the Noise Directive, there is, as of today, no space for wind turbine noise, then it is up to the Parliament to bring it to the table. Thank you.